Yeah, subhanallah, brother. I think that happened in 2015. Subhanallah. Like I said, I always mention this, how quickly time goes very fast. In the Quran, it says, "What asr innal insana fi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr." Like
Yeah,
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by time, subhanallah. And and the ayah continues, and that ayah, Imam, in the book of Asul al-Sunnah and in other books of the fundamentals of the creed, if this only verse was revealed to mankind, this ayah would have been sufficient for us to take and learn from this particular verse of the Quran. Subhanallah, brother. You know, your story now, subhanallah, I heard snippets of you sparring. You had some sparring, and then you took a body shot, and then from there, your illness came to pass, or came to be made aware, and how it happened, subhanallah. uh, could you just share your experience of that, if you don't mind?
yeah, of course. Look, it was an afternoon, or actually, I should say, a morning in the gym, and I was sparring a very close friend of mine who actually shares the same name as me, and was also a well-rated professional in the super featherweight division. His name was Bilal Dib also, and he and I decided to do some body sparring on that day, and then subhanallah, he hit me with a body shot, and after he hit me with that body shot, which sort of landed on my colon area, I felt a very excruciating pain. Something, there's a few things like when you get hit with a body shot, sometimes you get winded, and you can't breathe. But this wasn't one of those feelings. It was like he hit me in the colon area, and I felt like a sharp knife pain, like he had tore something in my stomach. And I continued the sparring, and then once we wrapped up the sparring, I just I wasn't feeling too good. I went home, and 2 days later, I found myself in hospital and basically fighting for my life.
So, brother, how did you, like, subhanallah, when we hear bad news, unfortunately, a lot of the Muslims, they seem to like say, why me, why this, and why that,
Uh,
and but they don't think about it's for a reason. Like you mentioned, mashallah, you seem to repeat that same uh, situation. Like, yeah, things happen for a reason. And sometimes when somebody loses a loved one or something negative happens to them, subhanallah, all the way straight away, unfortunately, we have this negative character that we start to blame Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why me, Allah? Why this, and so forth? But
mm,
this is the will, this is the decree, this is the will that is already written for you before
yeah,
you entered the world. So so the news came to you on the, subhanallah, as a shock. I'm assuming that there you are, body sparring, and to be honest, I actually spar with my son Hamza. He's actually in the chat right now. He's a lot taller than me, and I got him with a body shot once, and he fell on his knees after the second round. Uh, there he is there. Uh, but alhamdulillah, he was fine. MashaAllah, he recovered. He did say, "Why, Dad? Why did you hit me so hard?" But sometimes you got to put your kids into check. But yeah, you had that news from the doctor. I'm assuming you was just thinking like it's an infection or just a bruising or something similar to that. But once the tests came through, the blood tests and so forth, what impact did it have on you at that particular moment?
yeah. It's actually, truth be told, I actually was the one who asked the doctor if he thought that I had cancer, because I actually felt like I was very sick. It wasn't just the pain, but it was the sickness as well. So I actually felt like something was wrong, and I asked the doctor if he thought that I had cancer, and he was like, "I don't think so. You're not showing the symptoms of a cancer patient, but we will have a look." And then, subhanallah, I ended up doing a few examinations. They put me to sleep. They did an endoscopy, and when they woke me up, they said, "Look, we're really sorry. We've got some bad news and good news. What would you like?" I was like, "Give me the good news." Actually, I told him, "Give me the bad news first," and he said, "Look, we found colon cancer. But the good news is you're calling from a friend, so we're going to operate on you tomorrow." So that was that was just out of luck. Otherwise, I would have had to wait a few more days for the operation. But because I was a call in from a friend, but I was very accepting. Like I wasn't at the end of the day, that I knew that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala does everything for a reason, and who am I to fight with Allah Subhanahu wa Taala? Who am I to question Allah's decree? And it's funny that you say that, because media people rang me and said, "Do you ever wonder why me? Like, you've been through so much in your life already. Now you're going through this. You ever wonder why me?" And I said, "I actually don't think that. I think, why not me? Because what about the person who's next door to me who's going through the same thing, or the person who passed away the other day?" I said, at the end of the day, this is Allah's decree, and I can't fight with God about it. I just accept it. You know what I mean? They found that really strange. Like, how you was so accepting? And I'm like, it's just how I am, because I'd already been through so much in my life, and I'd learned to deal with loss, and deal with, like, low blows. And I just thought, this is just another test from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. And the thing is I've always had such a good relationship with Allah. So every time He tests me, I say Alhamdulillah, because if you're not getting tested, then they say Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is not really loving you. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm glad that I keep getting tested, and I welcome the tests. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, Akhi, the way you put that is beautiful, mashallah. So when you got the news from the doctor saying that you have cancer, you've been diagnosed with cancer, and then I'm assuming there is like a recovery or some medication or some
Of
type of
course.
treatment that they offer, or a time span. Were you expecting the news, like he basically said, if you want to relate, from your words, what the doctor told you, and so forth? Apparently,
Well,
you
yeah,
go on, brother.
the truth is that I wasn't really keen on taking the chemotherapy. And obviously, because I have a bit of a platform, I was receiving messages from thousands of people saying, "Brother, please don't take the chemotherapy. It's no good. Look for holistic ways." Everyone was all of a sudden a doctor. Everyone was giving advice, and I know they were coming from a good place. But basically, I had made a decision that I wasn't taking the chemotherapy, and I had spoken to a few of the doctors. And so, when the hematologist turned up to the ward and basically delivered the bad news, and the way he delivered it was like, you've got 6 months of life left, and if you spend 2 or 3 months looking for holistic, remedies and ways to beat cancer, and you don't, he goes, once you come back for the chemotherapy, it might be too late. And when he said that I'll be dead in 6 months, I pretty much said to him, like, I can't die. And he asked me the question why, and he actually really did ask me, why can't you die? And I was like, well, I have a son who's 2.5 years old, and I've got to walk him to school in a few years' time. And subhanAllah, you wouldn't believe it, that day is coming tomorrow. I'm actually walking my son to school tomorrow. Tomorrow for the first day. This is his first day of school, and I passed up a few opportunities. I was invited to London to the release of the game, the undisputed game, but due to my son going to school tomorrow, I was like, you know what, I got to pass it up, because that's the reason why I asked Allah Subhanahu wa Taala to spare me, so that I could be there for my son on his first day of school.
Subhanallah. Wallahi, brothers and sisters, think about the situation that our beloved brother is in. Family really does come first. Your children do come first. And brother, you really humble me, mashallah, just by your experiences, because many people would have taken that flight and taken, the time out to show their face in public and take the awards and so forth, and gain some type of financial benefits. But you rather stay with your, subhanallah, your son, and take him to school on the first day. That is
So
truly amazing.
the most important thing for me in my life is my family. That's and my immediate family obviously is my wife and my son. And there's nothing that I wouldn't do for them. You know what I mean? And for me to ask Allah Subhanahu wa Taala to spare me, so that I could be there for the first day of school for my son, and then to not turn up on that would be like a you know I don't even know how to place the words on that, but it would be a real disappointment for my son. And you know what? My son comes first. The boxing world can wait. The games can wait. Everything else can wait. He's the most important person in my life. And me and his mum are gonna walk him to school tomorrow, and we're gonna really enjoy, watching him flourish into the young man that we know he's gonna flourish into, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah, Allahumma barak akhi. Wallahi, I'm truly happy for you. And please, all the brothers and sisters watching, please make dua for uh, Billy Dibb's little son that he goes to school and he really enjoys school because going to school on the first day can be quite nerve-wracking. And inshallah, as a champion, I'm sure he'll fly through it really, really well. Is it close by or is it a bit of a journey? The school?
No, his school's about, I would say, about 7 or 8 minutes away from our home. We're sending
Oh,
him
okay.
to a beautiful Islamic school
Oh,
um,
mashallah.
called Argana College, and the principal there, Osman Karalia, who's a very close friend of mine and somebody who was there for me during my darkest moments. Has allowed us to, because it's a very sought after school and not a lot of people get in, and subhanallah, through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's permission and his grace, we've been able to get Laith into that school, and we're just really proud that he's going to be going to school and learning Quran and applying himself. And we've done the best we could with him up until this point. And my son never did any childcare or anything like that, because subhanallah, he's got some really bad allergies, and his allergies are basically life threatening. But subhanallah, this school deals with those allergies, and so I'm very happy that he gets the opportunity to go to school and like flourish and spread his wings and make
Hmm.
friends. That's what's important for me.
Well, you've shed a light on something very interesting, like the fact that Australia has like Islamic schools, Islamic colleges, and so forth. It goes to show how much, mashallah, Islam is growing around the world. Here in the UK, as you probably know, Brother Billy, that Islam, mashallah, is spreading